Jeff, what a perfect summer day to be out here on Lake Champlain.
Oh, it is. Summer's here. There's few better places to be than on or near the water.
Now, I suppose we should keep our eyes peeled for Champ, the lake monster.
We absolutely should keep our eyes peeled for Champ. We went out here looking for him before, but we did indeed strike out.
We did.
Though plenty of others have seen Champ, reliable folks who live and visit this lake, but I don't think the odds are with us.
No, probably not. Now, what are we looking for today?
So, Ray, we've come to the Vermont side of Lake Champlain, searching for a different lake monster.
Not Champ.
Not Champ.
Okay.
This monster is both ancient and massive, and I dare say there have been far more witnesses of this creature than Champ.
Really?
I'll even go so far as to guarantee that we'll see it while we're out here on Lake Champlain today.
All right. Well, now I'm listening.
Ray, we've come to Vermont to search for the Odziozo. Hey, I'm Jeff Belanger.
And I'm Ray Auger. Welcome to episode 403 of the New England Legends podcast. Thanks for joining us on our mission to chronicle every legend in New England one story at a time. We're always on the hunt for monsters, ghosts, roadside oddities, eccentrics, and all the other wicked, strange weirdness that makes New England like no other place. Most of our story leads come from you, so please reach out to us anytime through our website with your story leads.
Just a reminder that Ray and I want to hear from you about your own personal stories of strange encounters with ghosts, monsters, UFOs, and other unexplained mysteries in New England. Please contact us through our website or email us info@ournewenglandlegends.com.
We'll go searching for the Odziozo right after this quick word from our sponsor. As we said earlier, this isn't our first trip to Lake Champlain off the coast of Vermont.
No, it's not.
Now, Lake Champlain is huge.
Absolutely massive.
It's about 125 miles long, just over 14 miles at its widest point, covers about 500 square miles, and borders Vermont to the east, New York to the west, and a good chunk of it is located in Canada to the north.
Yeah, like we said, it's big.
A lot of room for monsters to hide.
A lot of room. Do you ever wonder how Lake Champlain was made?
I'm assuming it was formed as the last ice age retreated north, the Atlantic Ocean retreated, and land rose, leaving behind this massive body of water.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what the geologists tell us.
Okay.
And you're probably right. But when you look at the mountains around us, the massive lake, it's easy to wonder if maybe something bigger had a hand in this.
Like the hand of God?
Sure. Or some other kind of divine creator. Any place this beautiful, this bountiful, with food in the form of fish, fresh water to drink, water that draws in game you can hunt. I mean, this must be a gift of something bigger.
Well, when you look at it that way, yeah, it wasn't long ago that this would have been an obvious place to live, provided you could stand the winters.
A place of abundance and beauty. For me, it's easy to see the hand of a creator when I'm surrounded by all this.
Oh, look at you getting all spiritual and mushy.
Sometimes I just can't help it. Okay, let's take the boat that way.
Which way?
Over there, past the point, to the leftish.
You mean starboard?
Right. Left.
Port?
Oh, God.
Okay, I got it. So we're heading out past Shelburne Point, just off the coast of South Burlington, Vermont.
So right over there is Juniper Island. It's about a mile from us.
Yep, there's a small lighthouse on Juniper Island. It's one of the larger islands on the lake. Is that where we're headed?
Not quite, but that direction, yeah. Okay, you see that rock sticking out of the water just coming up ahead?
Oh, yeah, I do. There's not much to see. I imagine at night that rock could be a real danger for boats, though.
Well, today it's called Dunder Rock, and it's what we're here to see. Let's stop the boat here so we can get a little bit of distance between us and the rock.
All right, got it. So Rock Dunder, is that like Dunderhead?
That is the origin of the name of the rock, yeah. So the story goes that during the War of 1812, there was the Battle of Plattsburgh, New York, which is just a bit northwest of us on the New York side of the lake. The battle took place in September of 1814. Now, during the fight, the British had set up a naval blockade on the lake. The fighting had stopped for the night, and the Brits figured they could finish the battle in the morning. But some Americans snuck out on the lake and placed a lantern on top of this rock behind the blockade. As the fog rolled in, British warships could see the glowing lantern. Figuring maybe reinforcements were coming up, it said they turned their ships around to face the threat. Certain they had an enemy ship in sight, they fired. And fired again. They hit the rock, the lantern fell into the water and extinguished, and as the British ship drew closer, one of the officers looked over the rail to assess the damage and cried out, "It's a rock by Dunder." The blockade had been tricked. Americans got through, and the name stuck.
That's kind of funny and clever on the part of the Americans.
It was. But to the people who were here many centuries earlier, it was an affront to something significant and sacred.
Now, what do you mean by that? It's just a rock, right?
Well, so the Abenaki people lived in this region for about 12,000 years. And what's modern-day New England and Quebec was their land. This mighty lake was the western boundary. And the Abenaki were also taken in by the beauty of the lake and the mountains and the region. So they have this creation story about Odziozo. Odziozo is an ancient being, not quite a creator god, but definitely had a hand in transforming the landscape. Odziozo was this massive creature who lived before the animals had evolved legs. This creature had long arms, a massive body, and he would drag himself along the ground, forming hills and valleys in his wake. So Odziozo spent much of his time carving out a deep valley right here. He formed the mountains nearby, dug out the lake bed, then continued south, following a flock of geese into modern-day Madison, Connecticut, down by the coast. There, he dug up a clump of land and flung it about a mile south to where it landed in what is now Long Island Sound. That chunk of land became known as Tunxus Island, and the identical-sized pit in Madison filled with water and became Tunxus Pond. When the region up north flooded, forming the mighty lake and river, Odziozo returned to this lake because it was his favorite creation. Once he found the perfect spot in the lake, he lifted his head just above the water so he could admire the view, and then turned himself into stone. What we see here in front of us is Odziozo's head, still poking out to admire his favorite view all these countless generations later.
That's a great story. Now, when I look at the rock here at the lake from the right angle, it does almost look like a giant turtle head poking out of the water.
Yeah, it does. A nod back to a very ancient time. Now, for a long time, it was said that the Abenaki people would take boats out to Odziozo and offer him tobacco. If Odziozo smoked, it calmed him down, meaning the lake waters would be favorable for travel.
Now, do you know just a few weeks ago, on June 14th, the Lake Champlain Yacht Club held their annual Odziozo boat race? The race began in 1982 as an event where various boating clubs from around Lake Champlain could get together and compete. Over 40 years later, the race still continues.
Today, countless boaters and visitors to the shores of South Burlington on Lake Champlain have seen this rocky head of Odziozo poking out of the water.
I'm sure if you're far enough away, you might think it's Champ.
Sure, yeah.
But if you stare long enough, you realize it's not moving. You know, it's not the famous lake monster, but something else. Odziozo is small enough that it commands your respect, especially if you're a boater. It's not something you want to run into on a foggy day or night.
No, it's not. Still, I love the idea that when you know the story and see this rock sticking out of the water to admire the beauty all around it, maybe it also reminds us to stop and admire the abundance and beauty that's right here. And maybe we too will see the hand of something bigger than ourselves at work.
There's always another way to look at a rock, and another way to look at a story. And that takes us to After the Legend, where we take a deeper dive into this week's story and sometimes veer off course.
After the Legend is brought to you by our Patreon patrons. This group is our inner circle. They support us in everything we do, and they understand great content isn't free. They help with our production and hosting costs, our travel, marketing, everything else it takes to bring you 2 podcasts each week. It's just $3 per month. For that, you get early ad-free access to new episodes, access to our entire archive of shows, plus bonus episodes and content that no one else gets to hear. Please help us out by going to patreon.com/New England Legends to sign up. And to see some pictures of Odziozo, click on the link in our episode description or go to our website and click on episode 403.
I just love that everything has to have a story behind it.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah,
and you know, most of the stuff we talk about is there's either some fact-based information that we can share or we just speculate.
Yeah.
And the story is all speculation.
Of course.
But what a great story.
Yeah, yeah. And you can see it. Like it's, you know, you can go to our website, you can see a photo of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're a boater at night, I mean, it's big enough, right? I mean, it probably sticks out of the water maybe 3 feet, 4
So
feet.
you can't miss it when you hit it.
Well, in daylight, you'd be fine
Fog,
if you're paying
though.
any sort
Yeah,
of
oh,
attention.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
Fog or night and you're not
Yeah.
paying attention and you crack your boat. Sorry, you know, not good. But this thing, you know, you look at it from the right angle, it looks like the head of an animal just sticking out of the water. The old man of the mountain
Sure.
in New Hampshire.
You had to
right?
look at it the right way.
But when you looked at it the right way, you said, what's that? Right.
Right.
And you told stories. That's
Yeah.
something overlooking, like it's how far back? It went back a long way.
Yeah.
Till it crumbled.
Right.
Also, we talked about the British hitting this rock with cannon fire. We're not positive they did. The story of the blockade being tricked is true. Whether it was this specific rock is unknown, but it is called Dunder Rock on the map. But the yacht race is called Odziozo, right? And it's around that area.
That's more fun, I think.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Dunder is not a positive name, right? It's like you dunderhead.
Well, now I'm going to look up Odziozo boat race, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of tributes to Odziozo. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
People dress up like them. They dress their boats up, maybe. I don't know. I feel like there's more. That race is more about the history than it is just about racing on the lake.
They've been doing it every year since the 80s,
40,
and say 40
Over
plus
40
years. Yeah. So it just happened. The most recent one just happened. And it's, but I think that's a really cool nod to a great story and a landmark that, okay, if your map says Dunder Rock or Rock Dunder, we know the real story. We know Odziozo. And that lake already has a monster.
Right.
I didn't know about this one until it's got,
really?
It's got two, right? This is new. I was like, oh wow, it's got two monsters. Although this one,
if it has two, I bet you it's got two more.
but the difference, as we said, is like I can guarantee you'll see this one. We should charge big money and be like, we can take you out to see the lake monster, money back guaranteed. It's a 2 hour, it's a 1 hour boat ride from South Burlington. Guarantee you'll see the lake monster or your money back, and it's $5,000.
That reminds me of going to Memphis, and I could go to either Elvis's house or I could go to Jerry Lee Lewis's house. This was years ago.
Great balls of fire. What'd you do?
But their whole thing was like, there's a living being in this house. You might actually run into Jerry Lee Lewis. The other guy is dead.
Oh, not bad.
That was their pitch.
Bad.
Yeah.
So we take people out in the boat, and we're like, okay, we'd like to collect your money now. And they're like, what are you talking about? I don't see Champ. And they're no, that's a different monster.
Yeah.
We took you to see Odziozo, and there he is. He's right there. That's the rock.
I'd like my money back, please.
No.
You showed us a rock.
But that's the story. And yeah. And then,
this would be a great companion if you happen to boat on Lake Champlain in the summer. Bring the podcast with you and wow your friends with it.
Go see it. Yeah. Go park the boat, 100 feet out and take some pictures and admire Odziozo.
Please subscribe, like, or share our podcast with your friends. That's the biggest way you can help us grow. And when you tell a friend or two about our podcast, others check it out. The bigger our community, the more stories that come in and more wicked strangeness that comes your way. You should also check out our New England Legends Facebook group, where more than 10,000 others are sharing their own stories.
We'd like to thank our Patreon patrons for all their support. Thank you to our sponsors. And our theme music is by John Judd.
Until next time, remember,
The Bazaar is closer than you think.